they've shaken hands. This is match 7 of day 1, game 1, Liquid Red versus Imba Strelok coming at you. Make some noise for these new players coming out of Group B. Of course, Group C and D will be tomorrow, so make sure that you are right back here in those seats. Write your name on there. Well, don't write it directly on there, but
you might get in a
save
bit of
it.
trouble.
Yeah, you might get in a little bit of trouble. So, guys, thanks for joining us again as we shift on over to Group B. We've got Liquid Red spawning in the northwest position here as the blue Zerg. And over here in the east position, we've got his opponent. It is Imba Strelok spawning as the red Terran.
Yeah, and in these positions, I mean, there's a very unique style you can play. In Strelok's behalf, this is, because you're kind of close in terms of from the natural to the main base is really short distances. So we've seen a lot of Korean Terrans and a lot of other Terrans abusing that higher lower ground. And we saw it earlier today when we saw Stefano playing against Alive as well. You know, planting units on the low ground and elevating into the main ground. And it's a very, very strong strategy and overall style to use here.
Yeah, pointing out the particular situation where this usually takes place. And, you know, you brought up a great point when this happened from Alive versus Stefano, is that Stefano has not really been playing in tournaments that have been actively using this map. So, you know, how much preparation did he actually have to get ready for something like that? And I do feel like it's a strategy that once a player knows how to effectively deal with it, it becomes less and less of a killing blow type strategy. It can still be more annoying and turns into one of those types of things, but is Strelok as versed in this map and know that these types of attacks can happen? Well, typically those low to high ground attacks from Terran are pretty common, so I'll be interested to see if that could indeed happen. And based off the attack path that you see that Strelok will ultimately have in this particular situation, you could see that it does lead directly over to that particular point. So something that could happen here in the mid game here, as we've got the hatchery going down right now for Rhett. And I'll be really curious, Paul, to just see how economy-based Rhett is going to be right off the bat.
He's already started at an economy-based style. He's at 17 supply, then builds the extractor, and then 17 spawning pool. That is pretty late, DJ Weed.
Yeah, stretching it as Mr. Stretch Armstrong over there, trying to see how far he can actually go with that. And a lot of Zergs like to play that way, while some Zergs will choose to be a little bit more conservative. Others, not so much. It looks like we have Tech Lab down, and we're going to get a Reaper opening here.
Yeah, Reaper Expand is going to be really good against the way that Rhett is opened up, basically. I mean, he's gone Extractor, really late spawning pool, and now he's been scouted too. I wouldn't be surprised if the second SCV actually went there to assist the main one. And a Reaper Expand on this map is really good because you can jump up and down in a lot of different areas. You can enter the base in different areas as well. And because of Rhett's late spawning pool, this may be a little bit difficult to actually deal with.
Are under attack.
And SCV going to be taking a few hits here. Strelok asking for a pause as right before the action is about to get started here.
And I was just thinking about, you know, that generic style we were talking about, how Strelok should deploy siege tanks and marines on the higher and lower cliff ground. I was thinking, you know, what is the overall best way to come up to that? And I think you just have to get a lot of stuff in general, because it's very, very easy for a Terran to change the ratio balance between higher units and lower units. It's a quick lift up and down between Marines up on the higher ground and lower ground, which means Zerg, it's a really long way to go all the way around from the top all the way to the bottom. So you just need a lot of stuff just to attack from both directions, and you can't really, you know, filter down. You can't be like, all right, all his stuff is at the top, I'm gonna go all to the top and then come down at the bottom with a few, because it's very easy for him to switch up. So I think, like, even we saw, you know, Stefano's Ling only style get abused by that as well from Alive.
Right, and I mean, even though he did eventually take it over, it was like, you think about how many would-be drones were not made because he needed those additional Zerglings to actually make it in there. You also think about the fact that we're seeing more Terrans also choose to put one of those siege tanks a little bit closer to where it could possibly hit units coming down from the ramp, which means that if you do decide to actually move out and go for it, you can be in a position where you're just kind of throwing away units. It does look like we're hopping right back into this game as, well, we haven't really skipped a beat here.
No, not at all. One Reaper is out. He's not really going to continue with it or try to put bunker pressure on it. He's not building a second Reaper. He's just going to expand behind it. But because the Queens are relatively late, naturally because the spawn impulse late, he may be able to pick a few drones off here.
Yeah, he's going to certainly try. I mean, speed has just begun, and here comes that first SCV. We do have a couple Lings out. Oh, the Reaper runs right into the Lings. Now, he can play a little bit of the old up and down here, back and forth, as the SCV is going to be giving him vision. But oh, wow, he manages to hold on to that. And I wonder if he's just using it. Well, he's going to go ahead and hightail it out of there. So opportunity, I wouldn't say necessarily lost, just nothing really gained there.
Yeah, and Red didn't make any mistakes. He didn't overbuild Lings to deal with it. He realized that both Queens are going to come out, and as long as he doesn't lose drones, that's the most important thing here. And now we see a very, very fast factory onto this. And basically the reason why you have to get a factory so fast here is you generally need to go into the reactor. Or actually, I was going to say you can go into reactor Hellions or you can go siege tanks really early. But he's actually switched up and going to go for a starport. But look at this Overlord.
Yeah.
Sees it immediately. And Rhett already knows, like we said, he's very good at scouting, right? At 5:45, is exactly the same time a Terran will scan in Terran versus Terran, the same time you should send in an Overlord in this matchup. So he gets the precise knowledge of what's going on very easily, just Evolution Chamber.
As a Zerg player, it makes me giddy to see those types of things, like being very diligent about, I am not going to be in the dark. I'm not going to let, in this case, a Banshee sort of take me by surprise when really it shouldn't. And he's still going to go ahead and go with the Banshee, but as you mentioned, do we have... Did he go down and throw down a Evo chamber at all?
No, not yet.
No.
I mean, he can very easily go in and check if Cloak is coming. But at the same time, I don't think he's really expecting Cloak to go down. He's going for a fast lair anyway. But the thing is, the Hellions are out now. They will be able to put a bit of pressure on. There isn't going to be Cloak whatsoever. He's going into Stim as well behind this. But he is expanding. He's going to be able to get a lot of map control and potentially a few kills with this Banshee, even though he's got a lot of Queens and he may be able to pick off a few.
And I think that's just exactly it. Like, does he need it at this point when he does have the 2 Queens, 2 inside the main, 2 here at the natural, and is also going lair as well. So we do have some Lings coming out just to combat these Hellions here, and the 1 Reaper. Looks like a creep tumor will get taken out there, just kind of stop the spreading of the creep a little bit. Also note that the orbital command is down now for Strelok, and behind here, he wants to push, and there is the Banshee, but the Queens can't really engage with that other army down at the bottom. Gonna just try to pick off damage, but here come the Lings. Gonna get the surround on the Reaper, surround on another Hellion. And actually, that was quite a good engagement coming out there by Red.
Yeah, really nice from Red. He doesn't really want to engage off creep, though. I mean, well-placed Hellions will always beat Lings off creep. Even though a lot of damage is going down, he's going to be able to kill a lot of Lings here. Not really worth the trade, to be honest, as these Lings do go down. Meanwhile, the Baling Nest is up. The Spirit's on his way as well. He's mining from all 4 gases. The gas will start to rise very, very shortly. And I really I was just kind of thinking in my head as well while you were speaking, why didn't he throw down an Evolution Chamber? I was thinking, why wouldn't you do that? But at the same time, Red is thinking on such a high level. He went there, scouted out, and he knew that Strelok knew that he scouted, right? So he's like, you can't go Cloak. So he took a bit of a gamble there, which is a really smart decision and really wise.
Yeah, I mean, and you're right. The way that he looks at it a little bit different. He's like, well, I already have 3 Queens out. I'm going to have this 4th one out here in just a moment. Likelihood, and if he does have Cloak, he was also going lair. So maybe it's like, well, I can handle it with my Queens as long as I do have detection. Either way, it was a right decision made by Rhett. Looks like a quick little move in by a Zergling to see what is the composition beyond this. And he did spot a couple of tanks there in that competition, or the composition, so he should have at least a decent idea on how to deal with that. I guess my question would be now is, where does Strelok go from here? As he's got just a few Marines trying to get this tank line up a little bit. Is he going to be ready for ultimately what Rhett will throw at him?
I think he's gonna go for a timing attack as this last siege tank comes out. I mean, he hasn't thrown down a 3rd base yet. He's thrown down an engineering base, so he will start to look for turrets very, very shortly. And he's actually not even going to wait. He realizes that if I wait for that last tank, it's just going to be too late here. So he's going to go now, but Red, look at the creep spread from Red. Using double Queens to spread this far already. He's got a lot of Lings, and 11 Balings are about to morph right now as well.
Yeah, the tanks are going to go ahead and just line themselves up off of the creep. I like this idea. There are a lot of tumors out here, but there is a beautiful scan that is going to completely just get rid of all of these tumors, and all the hard work of Red has gone down there. But of course, He is going to be expanding beyond this too, as we see that hatchery going up right there and moving a little bit outside of the safety of those tanks. He is going to go ahead and retreat back. As you had mentioned, those banelings are morphed. They are out, and the Mutalisks on their way. And it looks like one of those Hellions spotted. There's a bunch of Lings now. Oh, we're going to have a little sandwich here. The Mutas are going to move on over. Not sure I like this, just engaging with 4 Mutas, but he's going for it.
I know, and this kind of flank attack is not really going to work. There are Marines there as well. And very smart. He kills so many creep tumors with just a small squad of Marines, to be honest. And I mean, the thing is, banelings are really good, even without the baneling speed upgrade, if you have the creep spread. And, you know, really, Strelok did really well to deny that. And look at this flank attack from Rhett coming around behind all the units. Gonna go straight for the natural here.
Oh, and this is gonna find him. Oh, the depots are not up. The Lings actually get off the depots, but they still do not go up. It doesn't even matter because the Mutalisks are there. SCVs are going to be pulled, try to get back to safety, but so many SCVs are gonna die. The question is, will the Mutalisks live through this? And the answer is no. A lot of the Mutas do go down, and these Lings will be picked off here. Now, 16 more Lings on the way. I think 2 or 3 Mutas were killed. I feel like there's still an opportunity here for Strelok to do some major damage. We do have a lot of Lings out right now. What is the Muta count at? It's only at 9 right now.
Yeah, he has to go right now. He lost 17 SCVs in that. It's an incredible amount this early on, only at 30 minutes in the game. He has to go right now with everything he has. He killed a few Mutalisks as well, so it's very, very low. And now we are going to see him finally push. But at the same time, Rhett realized that he's already in that, whilst that was going on, he went to 70 drones. He's at that comfort zone. So now he's going to be able to nothing but units. But will he have enough? Another huge counterattack coming in.
I really like this as well. I mean, he is keeping Strelok from coming back. This time he's going to get a surround on these Marines inside the base. Mutas are going to go after even more SCVs here, making the count 27 SCVs lost. And eventually what's going to happen is Strelok's going to say, okay, enough of this. I can't really even defend it anymore. I mean, look at the amount of Lings that are still just doing a ton of damage here inside the base. He's going to have to go for an attack and is going to have to be defended here by Rhett.
And here Rhett comes in before the siege tanks even siege up, and the banelings! Oh, DJ Wheat.
There's still enough Marines left. They did get some nice hits there, but Marines moving forward, a couple of Overlords going down. And if those tanks get to a position where they can siege up, it's going to be much, much more difficult. The Mutalisk count is looking pretty good, but it's not really that high. And here we have more banelings come out. These have to be huge hits, and some Marines do stand, but I don't think that there are more Mutas than there are Marines, and even with the medevacs, he should be able to clean this up.
That was actually really close. That was actually really close for Rhett.
Wow.
GG.
Very, very nice. Yes, that is, that's sort of like the limit testing way to play Zerg a little bit. You are walking a